Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, we are doing the Humankind Opendev beta of the game I just received. The beta is only open for the weekend. I haven't touched the game at all, and from what I'm hearing, that might be a bit of a mistake. The developers over at Humankind wanted me to relay that this is a very small piece of a very large game taken out of context. And so they want everyone to remember that when they're watching this video. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a couple of things here. Looks like we have a couple of different options. So, Towers of Babylon is discovery, small steps, growth. Standing at the center of civilization, Babylon is, was, and always will be one of the greatest cities the world has ever seen. It's your turn to write a chapter in its glorious history. How will you be remembered? Completion time is 45 minutes. Beneath our hooves, armies, battle, deployment, tactics. The Egyptian pharaoh was unwise to venture out from the safety of his palace. Your brave Hittite charioteers are ready. Send these fools back to where they came from or crush them. Completion time 15 minutes. Then we have Hold the Fort, that's 60 minutes. Resist assault. So that's pretty self-explanatory. The city of London is the pride of its people, but the Khmer and the Aztecs have joined forces to bring your beloved city down. Rally your forces and defend England from the invaders. For the king. So, it's odd that the Aztecs and the Khmer would be attacking London since they're on the other sides of the world. But, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to go Towers of Babylon. From what I've heard, you don't do any military with it against other units, but animals are a different situation. So let's go ahead and get this started. It's very colorful, the very first thing I'm noticing so far. Originally a modest Mesopotamian, I can't even say Mesopotamian city, Babylon, which in Akkadian means the gate of the gods, be, became between the beginning of the second millennium and the end of the 3rd century BC, the capital of successful empires that dominated the region. Within it, the kings erected in turn walls, palaces, fortresses, and temples of ever more imposing dimensions, some of which, as the Hanging Gardens or the Tower of Babel, still feed many myths and fantasies. Raise a city of many souls, protected by many armies, and whose influence stretches into new lands. Alright. So I'm guessing this is going to be our city, and we have a regiment here of scouts. Yep, we have 2 scouts in there. Found a new outpost in any neutral territory consumes all of the army's movement points. Ransack. Ransack allows you to destroy the target and gain resources. Okay. Move to use the left click to move this army to a different tile. Moving an army consumes at least 1 movement point per tile. Right clicking on a free tile will order your army to move there. Very much like Civilization so far. So it looks like they have 4 out of 4 movement points. And No valid target in range. Cut force down. Looks like 26 military strength. Alright, so discoveries can be made by the first army here. So I'm gonna go alright. So their animal remains. Build an outpost. With this army action, you can set up an outpost on an unclaimed territory. One without any city or outpost already on it. In the future, this outpost can become a city. So it tells you the tile and the surrounding surplus. Alright.
I'm on it.
Infrastructures. Within the construction list, as well as units and extensions, you'll also find infrastructures. Each city can only build one of these special buildings, so they're like districts, and they are not placed on the map, but they will directly improve the city. They interact with the quarters and other game entities in unique ways. Read their descriptions and plan your construction accordingly. First, let's build one of the infrastructures by left-clicking on its illustration. An astronomy house. Great astronomers and adept mathematicians, Babylonian priests, work in temples to understand and predict planetary movements. 2 food per researchers, 2 science per adjacent farmers' quarters, and 1 researcher slot on settlement. Cost is 132 production. And it looks like we might be doing 8 production churn, I'm guessing from what I'm seeing on the city tile right there. Or we can build a farmer's quarters. Whether it's fields of corn or herds of goats, all those who feed the populace benefit from the wisdom of nearby fellow farmers. +1 food, +1 food per adjacent farmer's quarters. So looks like you're going to want to plant these side by side to get a bonus on them. +1 farmer's slot on settlement. 132 production, same as the previous building. The maker's quarters. Sharing knowledge with neighboring smiths is second nature to the craftsmen of this dirty, noisy, dangerous, yet vital quarter. Alright, so the maker's quarters is going to give us that production we need. And it's telling us 5 turns is 132 production. Millstone. Stones used to grind grains, nuts, and rootstocks. These help raise food yields. +4 food per number of territories. This right here, we can build a scout. Their lightly armed troops test to find enemy positions and engage in light skirmishes. Sabusakasti, I'm guessing is the pronunciation. As levy recruits, they are armed and trained to fight in exchange for access to temple-owned land. Alright. So they're definitely doing more damage than the scout. And they're pretty fast, it looks like. Melee Guardian stronger when standing on a friendly extension. And then we have tanning racks. Foul-smelling places, but capable of producing some of the first sought-after garments. +2, so this is going to be giving us gold, +2 money per number of territories, 30 production. So I'm going to probably go for the astronomy house first. It's going to take 5 turns, and apparently this game only gives me 30 turns. So we're going to be able to at least construct everything, it looks like. Oh, and I got to... Let's see. +9, +9, +9, +9. So I'm going to go here because this big +6 food is sticking out right here. And then research, of course. Calendar. Now that they are living in permanent settlements, villagers want to track the changes of the season and organize the planting of crops. I'm guessing that is 50 science, that little symbol right there. Domestication, the taming and breeding of wild animals such as pigs and buffalo, brew new means of eating and working. Yeah. So it's all 50 science, which is 7 turns. Carpentry. The art of woodworking is essential for bow making and laying the foundation for future constructions. So that sounds like that will lead to getting archers. With the advent of permanent settlements, thought naturally turns to security and defense. The earliest innovations are simple but effective. So city defense is pretty obvious. I'm actually going to go for carpentry and see if that's going to lead us to archers. Oh, we got some animals over here. Animal remains. Gatekeeper. So copper's right here. Gatekeeper to the Bronze Age. Copper finds uses in weaponry, coinage, medicine, and decoration. You are missing a technology to be able to extract this resource. Okay. So we can zoom up pretty high. So these blue lines, they're basically city limits. They are, I believe they are predefined limitations of territory you can be putting down. So this area we would put down 1 city and then possibly another city over here. Right here we do have an animal lair. This is a lair. Destroy it and you will stop the associated animal from spawning. To destroy a lair, you can ransack it with an army on the adjacent tile. So the one thing I'm curious about right now is why would we want to stop animals from spawning? Because in my mind we would want to hunt them and we would love to have a constant source of food. So I'm curious about why the animals are being perceived as enemies. That's one thing Civilization changed, was never showing animals being killed. So this will be interesting. Alright, that's a big old mastodon. Oh, wait, what's going on? them from going to that tile they're headed to.
Off we go.
No.
Come over here. All right. Over this way.
Well, it's not letting me ransack it. They keep moving all over the place, but missing
Yes.
the actual sanctuary. Alright, come on. Apparently, I'm doing something majorly wrong with this.
Charge.
And it did unlock archers and the lumberyard.
Let's go.
Well, I'm trying to click on the preview and
For your family.
Alright, so retreat. This is interesting. Okay, a melody for every occasion. In the teeming, iconic city of Babylon, musicians are a celebrated part of the local culture with a long history in holy rites. They bring nobility to religious rituals, jollity to palace celebrations, smiles to the sick and ailing, courage to the marching armies, and distraction to the gods. Alas, they are still too small in number, especially the good ones. And now word of their renown has reached across the empire. Lords, priests, commanders, among others, are grousing that their city deserves such artists too. How will you satisfy them? Muster street musicians, riddle Babylon. They could help commerce elsewhere, even if they distract learning. Less enlightened citizens result as capital earmarked for schooling and innovation is kept in the treasury coffers. Effects +5 money, +2 science. Could have unexpected consequences. Build. Every city will be required to build an institution of music where we can teach new performers. -60 gold, and we don't even have that yet. Overproductive on Babylon for 10 turns. Industry thrives in the city as technical innovations and motivated workers combine. So I think I'm going to go with this one just because the increased production. And this sounds like it's going to hurt loyalty in the city. And as you can see, we're now negative and in the hole. Alright, so the next infrastructure. So now we have, let's see, 1 out of 9, +1 in 3 turns, so it looks like we are being in growth. Your settlement gains 1 person every 8 turns. Your next population looks like in 3 turns. So then we can put them elsewhere here. Okay. So they only have a 16 attack. So though often poorly equipped with simple wood bows, massed archers are a great danger to the enemy. Ranged combat unit, less effective when it cannot see its target, receives a penalty to its combat strength when defending against close combat attacks. That's a really weak attack. I'm really surprised with that. So okay, let's go ahead and we already built an astronomy house. So let's do a farmer's quarters. Okay, so now if we do this here, that's a little bit better. So we can already see where some of these will earn +5 food but -2 production. This one is just a flat +3 food, so that one is definitely going to be beneficial from what I'm seeing on the map here. And research. City defense. With the advent of permanent settlements through thought naturally turns to security and defense. The earliest innovations are simple but effective. Fishing. We do have some water off our coast. Masonry. Build a watchtower. Domestication. Let's do that. Domestication.
No mercy.
Okay, so it looks like we can take this one.
Attack! Let's go! Let's fight! No fear. Follow me.
This is a little awkward.
All together. No mercy. Charge. Charge!
Domestication. Oh, there's like people behind us.
For your family.
You can move your unit anywhere you want on your side of the battlefield. This is a good moment to use the terrain. Elevation will give better vision and combat strength bonuses. Forest tiles reduce range damage, and rivers decrease the combat strength of all units fighting on them. Okay. So every turn there are 5 battle rounds. Of course, huge battles can last much longer. So this is really different than 3 battle rounds, and so can take place over several turns. As you advance through the eras, the number of battle rounds will generally increase as the number of units engaged in battle rises. The first empire to act in battle is the attacker. They play all their units and then the defender plays. Each unit can only move and attack once per battle round. Left click on one of your units to select, then right click on a tile to move, or on an enemy unit to attack. Don't forget to move first. Not all units are allowed to move after they attack. Okay. So we're going to end the round. So that deer is still going. The battle has ended, the outcomes are already visible, but if you want to learn more details, you can left click on the panel. We'll do the calendar there. Melody for every occasion too. Creating an institution dedicated to music in every city was an excellent idea. I actually did something right. Performers produce refined, delicate compositions, and many pay for the privilege to hear them play. Music is a serious, artful practice carried out by trained adepts. The strict classical musical culture is well established. Euphony. Music is sacred art, only to be performed by those with the requisite learning. Okay.
All together.
Oh. Curious if that's 2, because I only have 1, and somehow I have 2 on the battlefield. I love how pretty it is.
Yes. Let's go.
Alright, so this should be Okay. Okay, so you can hover over the tiles and figure out what you have put down. So next thing we're going to do is the maker's quarters, and it looks like one should go right here. And we got the calendar done. Outpost management. Once you've created an outpost, the territory where it is located is considered claimed and belongs to you. No one else can create an outpost there. Unless an opponent has open borders with you, they can no longer lawfully set foot inside either. If for some reason you are not satisfied with the position of your outpost, you can relocate it somewhere else inside the territory. You can also develop it into a city, enabling resource gathering and infrastructure construction and military production, but be aware that cities cannot be relocated. In both cases, these operations take several turns to complete. Alright. Do an outpost relocation. Almost have enough for an artisan's quarters. So we're gonna wait until we have enough. We have 100. We need 100 gold. We're at about 69 to create a city. I'm wondering if they can heal. Okay, let's go back over. Is there still one over here? It's a regiment. They look like my guys.
Acknowledged.
Okay, so you don't actually have to do anything to merge them together.
Understood.
That's a big, big woolly mammoth.
Follow me.
Alright, so we're ransacking that. Research quarter. Commons quarters. Let's go ahead and lumberyard. I'm going to make an archer. We got irrigation, which unlocked flood irrigation, public fountain, and feast. The public fountain, channeled from underground springs, fountains provide drinking and bathing water useful for keeping sweaty farm workers content. Public hygiene, level 1, +2 stability per number of territories. Interesting. So we're going to build a city here now. Been ransacked. Okay. That's a little confusing, and I think this part specifically is the feedback I'm going to give to the developers, because I think if you're used to playing these types of games, Civilization in particular, it doesn't kind of dawn on you to click on this button to ransack. That one threw me off a little bit, definitely. Alright, so we have 2 sets of warriors and 2 scouts in our new regiment.
Come over here.
So what I'm curious is if this 4 has some... I think this 4 is the amount of units in there, so you can get a general idea. 60 versus 50. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, and these archers... attack... exclude this army from the list of idle armies until an enemy... Okay, so for the sentry, you can set this up for defense. Alright, now... and we just unlocked warriors. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the walls there. The battle has ended. The outcome is already visible, but if you want to learn more details, you can left click on the panel. Whoa.
Right.
So I'm wondering if I have to go back to my territory to heal. So that's the sleep until healed, because that scout unit is almost dead. Alright. So the first calendar. The invention of the calendar heralded a glorious day in the Empire's history. Now with two major cities and numerous farming affairs needing to be harmonized across land, it is time to standardize this calendar. Traders must have an easy means of synchronizing their activities. By what means do you wish to track the days? Solar or lunar? Solar is the learned assure you that this calendar will better stand the passing of the seasons. Lunar is the waxing and the waning of the moon is something familiar and comforting to the people. I'm going to go with the lunar calendar just because we use a version of this today, so. We only have 12 turns remaining. Unit selection, so get them back into our territory to see. So I need an administrator for this other city. Just one administrator available. I'm curious how you get more administrators. Horsemanship. So that is going to unlock the horsemen. or the scout cavalry. So I'm wondering if they've just disabled the healing, or if we have to actually go into the city. The walking wounded. During the recent brutal battle, many soldiers sustained horrific life-changing injuries before returning to Mari. For some, their whole character has changed, becoming aggressive, demented, or unable to bear others' presence. Others suffer physical wounds, some forced to use crutches or carts to move around. Among the citizens, fear mixes with admiration as they spy them on the streets. Your lead will be vital. How do you welcome your crippled soldiers? These men and women are heroes. We will celebrate their great sacrifice. Celebrating them on Mari for 10 turns. Exploit. These brave soldiers might not fight again, but they can still be useful tools by inciting military feeling. Patriotic on Mari. I'm going to go with glorify. And so I think I'm correct in this one right here. When you set them to sentry, they're automatically healing by being in the city. Masonry, stoneworks, and the watchtower. Yeah, he is healing up. Alright, so salt. Interesting.
Yes, sir.
The pecking of poultry. The art of divination spreads across the empire. Priests search for messages from the gods in animal entrails, the flights of birds, the wheeling of the stars in holy decoctions, and elsewhere. Now, however, the practices have become so commonplace, so bizarre, that the whole empire is sliding towards chaotic superstition. Even the eating patterns of chickens are to be interpreted by military commanders. What to do? Embrace, forbid, reason. Embrace who we are to say how the God should speak to us. We should be open to all signs. Forbid divinations outside the officially sanctioned means are pure superstition and must be forbidden. Reason. We must use logic and experimentation to discern the true methods of divination. So you get celebrating, fanatical, or learning. I'm going to go with learning. I'm guessing that's going to boost research. So we look closely here. It looks like a wall has been set up. Yes, so that was so basically everything we build is going to have a wall set up. So I'm curious, if somebody attacks us, are they going to have to attack the wall first, or can ranged attackers get through the wall here? It looks great. I love the look of this. Okay. Fishing is completed. Alright, so now we got really one best spot for it. To represent the challenges of logistical support for armies, your empire has a limited number of generals. Unlike administrators, generals are automatically assigned to an army upon creation. A general will also be automatically unassigned if its army is destroyed or merged. If the number of available generals falls to 0, each subsequent leaderless army will incur a monetary cost. This cost increases with each passing turn, so beware. The stock of generals can be increased via technologies or traits. Okay. Mercury.
Over this way.
That's Babylon. So I'm getting the hang of this now. It's a fun game. We're coming up on the 30 turns here, and in 3 more turns. So far the feedback I would definitely give them is give the players a tutorial. I'm sure they are. And especially when it comes to combat. Combat is definitely very different in this game than what I've seen in other games. If people haven't played these types of builders, some of these these buildings, I don't want to call them districts because that's not what the game is calling them, but laying your buildings down, if you're not paying close attention, could kind of throw you off. But I think the laying down buildings, doing the research, I think the city management will definitely take some getting used to. As you can see here, the current number of population assigned to this category. So right now we're stagnant in food. Population value will remain the same. This state will remain as long as your settlement production stays between -10 and 10 food. So in this situation, I would definitely want to put down more food. The harbor is going to help with that. And looks like it's going to get done right when the game is going to be over. And we got some science there.
No fear. Only in the mind's eye.
Also, other animals are fighting me at the same time.
No, that's not possible. That won't work.
Hmm.
Forget it. You ask too much. That's not possible.
Oh my god, there's another one.
No. Only in the mind's eye.
Wow, that was a lot. Those are pretty cool ender though. We only got 3 turns left. So what I'm curious about is, are those animals going to attack your city? Because as you can see from all of that, I got a lot of gold.
Off we go.
Gotta move my archers out so they can go back in and heal.
Yes. Off we go. Will do. Let's go. Come over here.
Hi, it's me again, back to say just a few words. First and most obviously, thank you for playing. We really hope you enjoyed it. Again, keep in mind that this is just a glimpse of what the full game will have to offer. The scenario you just played was specifically designed for Opendev. Now, if you have time, we would really appreciate hearing your feedback. The game designers have put together a list of questions that would help us make Humankind the very best historical strategy game. If you're interested in hearing more about this, come join the community on Games Together. Thanks again for playing, and thank you for leaving your mark on Humankind.
All right, so that was the first 30 turns of Humankind, and I think, a lot was solved. And I actually did learn a lot of things about the game. I think it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. I think just like Civilization for me, it definitely takes a while for you to adapt to it, to learn everything, learn the strategies. There are definitely some things I'm going to be writing to them in this feedback. Hopefully there's some open space where I can type out some of my thoughts. But let me know what you thought of the game. Is this something you'll be looking for in 2021? That is when the game should be launching itself. The good, the bad, the ugly. Put your comments down below. I'm sure Humankind will be looking at the comments. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you later.